up, ladies and gentlemen? FPS Mayo, and today I'm bringing you a video that I think is so cool because Activision Modern Warfare, they have done something extremely unique, and they have brought in a character. Now, they've done this before, but this character has such an amazing story, and I'll get more to that in a second. But Activision has brought in a character called Ronin, and they're selling it in the store for 2,400 COD points, which I know is a lot, and some of you don't support that. But if you're going to support a COD package to buy, I'm going to say this is the one, and I'll tell you why. We're going to go into the backstory of Ronin, and then we're going to dive into what this pack comes with in the Modern Warfare bundle, and then you're going to see some gameplay with the weapons that he has, and one that I'm really excited about, which is the hatchet. They kind of added a new melee weapon into the game, or they did, and it's called the No Masters melee weapon, and this thing is sick. You're going to see gameplay when I'm talking, and I think it's absolutely awesome. So without further ado, I found an article online that outlines the background and the life that Ronin or Tu-Lam had, and I'm going to read it here, so excuse me for reading, but it's a lot to remember, so here we go. Tu-Lam is a Vietnamese refugee. Tu-Lam is a Vietnamese refugee who came to America and served 20 years in Special Forces, and Ronin Tactics, which is his new company. He serves as a teacher, and he has a YouTube channel, Instagram, all that. Ronin Tactics is based out of Colorado. Now, this is what he says, and this is really intense. My understanding from birth was one of war. I was born out of war. I was born in 74 after the fall of Saigon. In 76, they dragged us out into the streets of Vietnam because they were trying to impose the communist ideologies of our government. My uncles were serving in the Navy and were dragged out into the streets like animals and shot. They separated our family and imprisoned my other uncles in what they called re-education camps. My grandfather took his life savings and smuggled us out of the country because my mom was saying, "There's no way my two sons will grow up under communist rule." We left on an overstuffed wooden boat with hundreds of other refugees. First, we had to be navigated past the pirating that was going on. There was a lot of bandits, pirates, everyone who was leaving. The country had no money. These pirates would intercept the refugees, rape the women, rob the boats, and kill everyone on board. He says, we navigated past the pirates first, then into Indonesia where the Coast Guard stopped us. They told us we couldn't come into their country. They anchored us down and pulled us back into the ocean on lines, then shot our motor and cut the lines, leaving us out in the middle of the waters to die. Our boat drifted further and further into the ocean. So you get the idea. At a young age, this man is struggling. He's having a real tough time. He says this as well. My family was gunned down like animals by a communist government, and yet the Russians, another communist government, saved us. That was my first lesson in humanity, that everyone is truly different. The Indonesian monks came and helped us while we were in the camp. My aunt had married a Special Forces Green Beret, and he expedited the paperwork to get us out of Indonesia and into the United States. Now, he also goes on to say this, and he's talking about himself at a very young age. He says, at 8 years old, his aunt married a Green Beret sergeant, and at that early age, he was indoctrinated in the ways of Special Forces soldier. He learned many languages, how to take apart many weapons and care for them, and how to navigate the stars with a homemade compass. He referred to these lessons as father and son time, while being taught a tradecraft of war. 2 years later, Ronin's 10 years old, and he's decided he will be a Green Beret. Here is the story Ronin reads. And this is kind of funny. He says, like a lot of Asians, I was academically gifted at a very young age. I had scholarships and I turned them down. I made better grades than my brother and he ended up being a doctor. When I got to age 18, I went to MEPS and applied for 11B infantry. There was no such thing as 18X or direct entry into special operations. You couldn't just come off the streets and train for spec ops. You had to become an E5 sergeant first and then do a certain amount of years. Those years could be waived. And so I made E5 after a year and a half. When I went into long-range reconnaissance, which took me directly into the Marines Amphibious School, Ranger training, and a lot of other leadership courses as well as the Army Sniper School. So what I'm getting at here is this man is phenomenal. He's a Vietnamese refugee. He comes into the United States against all odds and then becomes Spec Ops. He becomes such an amazing person and so talented. And now he has his own YouTube channel. He served with Special Forces for 22 years. He is an American citizen now. I mean, I'm not American, I'm Canadian, but still, all the kudos to becoming an American citizen. So that's a little bit about Ronin, and I think it's so cool. So that's one of the reasons I got this pack, and I'm not going to lie, another reason I got this pack is because he has a freaking axe, is what I'm looking for, the name axe. So let's get into the gameplay here. Now, before we do that, if you like what you're seeing, drop a like. I would love that so much. Drop a like, hit that sub button, turn notifications on if you haven't, and if you don't like the video, well, I guess you could drop a dislike. Anyways, so the guns that this come with an M4A1 variant, which I'm not really a big fan of. I don't kit my gun out that way, but I'll tell you what, it looks cool, it looks sick, and I think he had a little bit to do with the design going into this because it was towards his specifications. So you can see here, this is what it looks like with Damascus, and I don't really think it's that fantastic with Damascus because Damascus just takes off the camo and puts Damascus on. So comes with the M4A1 variant that isn't set up how I'd like, but I still show some gameplay just to represent what that is. I set it up differently myself. It also comes with the M19 pistol, which I've never use, but honestly it looks so cool. One thing that's unfortunate though is the magazine, the red one, the red shiny one that looks so cool at the bottom, that only stays there if you use the 17 round magazine. So again, I think it's kind of not the best in that way. The next thing though that's really cool is he has a freaking little choppy thing, a little axe. I don't know why I can't remember the name of an axe today, but anyways, he's got an axe. That is sick. So we're going to get into the gameplay now, and I'm going to tell you, I mostly mained the axe. This thing is so much fun. I don't know if it has increased range or what, but this thing is an absolute blast to use. The M4A1, like I said, I'd set it up differently, but if you're buying this pack, it's not bad. It's more tailored to mid-close range engagements because it doesn't have recoil stabilizing attachments like I normally like my M4 setup like. But the thing still melts. And what I didn't do in this video is I didn't try the M19 pistol because it's a pistol, you know how it handles, and it doesn't really look that fantastic. But this axe, I'm telling you, if you're going to get this pack, do it for Ronin, do it for axe, do it for the axe, do it for Ronin, do it for the axe. I just had a stroke. I can barely even talk. I'm talking so fast, it's crazy. Anyways, I'm going to let you guys watch the rest of the video here. If you like it, drop a like. If you don't like it, drop a dislike. If you want to see something different, or if I got some information wrong, let me know. All the information that I said that's about Ronin, I left it in the description below, so you can click on that and read more about him. He has so much more. I barely even dived into his history, and I might have butchered it a little bit, but I'm telling you, this guy is super cool. And check out his YouTube channel. I'm not affiliated with him in any way, but he has some seriously cool stuff if you're into combat training, etc. It's called Ronin Tactics on YouTube. He's a really cool individual to learn about. Anyways, I'm going to say thanks to him for bringing in the axe in this game. Threw in a little teabag for you right there. That's all I got for today. Enjoy the gameplay. Catch you guys next time. FPS Mayo out. Okay, one final thing that I didn't say is how I like my M4 set up. So, first off, I got the monolithic suppressor. Next, I have the Corvus custom marksman barrel. I also run a 60 round magazine, no stock, and then the grip tape on your rear grip that allows more recoil control. So, that's it. Catch you guys next time.
Enemy at the warehouse. Enemy precision airstrike. Get down. We lost Charlie. Enemy VTOL in the AO. Enemy at the warehouse. Enemy at the junkyard. Securing Charlie.
Sending charge.
Enemy VTOL in the AO.